So, you've been spending a little too much time on the subreddit. You think armor's the only thing you can take in Payday 3. Most people would agree with you. It's definitely the best, like objectively, over everything. But it's definitely not the only thing you can take anymore. My good pal John Nanner and I have been experimenting for a day, and we believe we've found a medic bag build that works. Now you gotta hear me out on this one. You're not gonna agree with it when you see it. Okay? I haven't showed it to you yet. You're not gonna agree with some of the things on there, but trust me. It just works. Grand reveal, here we go. Wow. Is that the standard armor lining? I know that's probably what caught your eye right away. But like I said, hear me out. This build just works. We ran through the whole game twice. That's 16 heists, all in loud. It worked on every single one of them. Now, this is obviously done when I'm at 100 infamy, so I have 21 skill points. I would say this build maybe requires, let's say 17 or 18 to be safe. So unless you're like level 75, I don't know how well this will work. Just for a frame of reference, it is currently October 3rd. The game has been out for, what, 2 or 3 weeks at this point? There hasn't been a single update, so I'm not sure if this is going to change in the future. Check the description to see if there's anything that changed, I guess. Let's talk about the entire goal of this build and the playstyle of it before we get into the actual skills. You're gonna rush over and pick up everybody that you see. Doesn't matter if they're a bot or a human or, you know, the worst player in the game. You're gonna pick them up because it's gonna benefit you and it's gonna make you more powerful, surprisingly enough. You're gonna rush around to objectives because you're gonna be the fastest person on the map with the lightest armor and the most movement speed. So your job for this build is to rush objectives and pick people up. Okay, let's get into some of the more nitty-gritty of this. I say that because you have to use grit in this build. It's funny, it's a pun. Let's talk about all the ways that you're going to get your edge, grit, and rush in this build first, and then I'll go top to bottom. If you want to see top to bottom on the skills, skip to this time. The 3 important parts of a build are edge, grit, and rush. Edge makes you deal 10% more damage, grit makes you take 10% less damage, and rush increases your movement speed, it seems like about by 10%. 10% may not seem like a lot, but with edge on the revolvers, you can actually one-shot headshot most enemies. 10% less damage taken with grit doesn't really seem like a lot, but it's going to be really important to proc other skills in this build, so we'll get around to that in a sec. The first way we're going to be getting edge is through the sharpshooter tree. You can take it basic if you want to and just aim down sights for 1.5 seconds to get edge, but refreshing edge is also very important, so I take it aced. Every time I get a headshot, it refreshes edge. Alongside that, I took combat reload in Enforcer, and that's going to refresh your edge anytime you reload a mag that still has ammo in it, so you can get rid of the aced point in Sharpshooter if you'd like to put it somewhere else. We also have Escapist Ace, which is going to give us Rush after 3 seconds of sprinting. However, we can slide and turn it into Edge, which is very important to get a quick injection of edge to make sure we can knock out 3 enemies with the revolver. The most important part of this build is actually going to be maintaining grit. So we're going to have grit by using the Enforcer skill. Killing 2 enemies within 4 seconds that are within 5 meters of you will give you grit. And then with that combat reload I mentioned earlier, we can refresh our edge and grit at the same time by reloading a magazine that has ammo already in it. And then we're also going to get grit and rush from the medic tree. We have code blue in the medic tree, which is going to give us rush anytime a teammate goes down. And then we have medic ace, which is going to give us grit anytime we start reviving a teammate, which will also give us 40% less damage received when we're reviving them. Let's go top to bottom on this build. So we took the entire medic line. I know that's a huge point sink, but it makes the medic bag very viable, okay? With medic ace, we're going to get that grit and we're going to be able to revive people 20% faster. We're also going to have 2 more charges on our medic bag, which will be important. I took steady hands to give you additional heals from the medic bag because as it is, without any extra benefits, a first aid kit or medic bag hit will restore maybe 1/4 of your health. With all the things we have here, it's going to fill your bar entirely almost every time. Whatever deployable you're taking on any build, you should always get extra charge to get those 2 more charges on it. Whether it's an ammo bag, an armor bag, or a medic bag, you should take the 2 additional charges just so you contribute that little bit more to the team. It's just 1 skill point. The beauty of this build, the glory, this is the best skill for this build, maybe besides one other one. Combat Medic. If you have grit, when you revive a teammate, you and that teammate have 5 seconds of damage immunity. That 5 seconds isn't trivial. That gives you plenty of time to get over to an armor bag or a medic bag. Whatever your team needs, you can get away from anything in that 5 seconds. Alongside this, sprinting for 3 seconds is going to give us rush. Code blue also gives us rush or refreshes rush whenever somebody goes down. That's why your priority is going to be picking people up. You can pick them up quickly using rush, And then because you have Grit from Medic, you and your teammate both get 5 seconds of invulnerability. And then Grit's going to come into play later. I'll show you even more invulnerability that you'll be getting from this build. This build is dedicated to making you an unkillable god, or Sisyphus, depending on how bad your teammates are. Now this is the only one that I say maybe you don't need to take is Triage. If you have Edge, Grit, and Rush, you will get up to 45% more healing from a Doctor Bag hit. This is the only one you probably don't need to take. You heal quite a bit with all the other skills in this line, so you probably don't need Triage. I take it anyway to guarantee that I max out my health almost every time I hit a medic bag. That 50% faster interaction can sometimes save your life as well, so consider it, but don't take it if you don't want to. And then on here we have Field Surgery, which restores an additional 10% of your max health, but you also get a down back. This prevents you from ever going into custody. It's not super important because taking the light armor will give you 4 downs anyway, and hopefully you won't use up 4 downs and you'll just prevent going down by healing up, but this can be very good in certain situations. Okay, moving down the line, we're just going to get Sprint Reload from the Mower tree, because reloading while sprinting is great. Now this is the tree everybody's been waiting for. I know a lot of you think taking tank and armor up is very important. For this build, I want you to forget everything you know about armor. It is not as important as you think it is. This build is dedicated to not having armor, and I think that is an incredibly different playstyle than a lot of you are ready for. You may not like this build right away for this exact reason, but hear me out. In the tank tree, we can regenerate our armor 20% faster by speccing into it. With the single plate armor, you can regen your armor in about 2 seconds. I know people like Noli and other content creators making builds will tell you, you need to take plate up in the ammo specialist tree, where as long as you have Grit, you instantly regenerate your armor chunk upon picking up ammo. That's because you're taking the 4-plate armor, which takes like 20 seconds to regen. With the single plate armor, you regenerate your armor in about 2 seconds with this point. That makes it okay to take damage and regen your armor. You don't have to sit in a corner for 20 seconds at a time to regen the 4-plate armor. Just take the single plate armor. That's the main reason we're taking this. You regen very quickly, and every armor bag hit you take is just all of your armor. So you just have to hit it one time and move on. So I don't want you taking armor up. You're going to be using a single plate vest and you're going to be out of armor a lot of the time. That's okay. It's a good thing. I don't have armor most of the time on this build. Okay, a very important skill point here. Last man standing. All those ways that we were getting Grit, last man standing is going to be the big use for it. So when you would normally take damage that would kill you, if you have Grit, you have 10 seconds of immunity. Here's the clip that you've been waiting for. I took down a bulldozer during this 10-second immunity, and it couldn't touch me. And in the time I was still immune, I used my medic bag hit to get back last man standing, and then I revived someone for Grit. So you can just loop getting Grit, hitting medic bag, and having 10 seconds of invulnerability. This is why you're the objective guy. You're forcing objectives. If you have Grit, you can force any objective in the game. 10 seconds is not trivial. Plus, if you're reviving somebody, you're getting Grit, giving them and you 5 seconds of invulnerability to help take out that bulldozer, or so they can escape while you distract the bulldozer. And then on top of that, when you do die, you get 10 more seconds. That's up to 15 seconds of invulnerability every time you revive somebody and then die. This is like the most important skill in the build. Alongside this in the tank tree, I took Disengage just because I hate cloakers and zappers. They seem to catch me out all the time. I think it's streamer privilege, honestly. Do with that what you will. You don't have to take it, but I like it. So we've gotten out of all the important stuff. The rest is kind of combat focused, so that's the most important part of the medic bag build, but we'll finish up right here. I took Sharpshooter Ace because I can get Edge on demand by standing still and aiming for 1.5 seconds, and then I can get a headshot to refresh my Edge. So that's very nice. I can one-shot headshot with the revolver on most cops. I took Escapist because having Rush is very important to this build. You want to move fast, getting to objectives, and getting in and out of cover because you only have that one armor plate, or you're running just health. You can also get some more Edge on demand by sliding when you have this. I took Swift because it's nice to have that extra 10% of movement speed moving to the objectives. And then here in the Enforcer tree, this is just another way to get Grit we talked about earlier, where if I kill 2 enemies in 4 seconds within 5 meters, which is great if you have Edge with the revolver, I'll have Grit, and then I can use that Grit to do all kinds of things, such as be invulnerable for 15 seconds. And then Combat Reload ensures that I keep my Edge and my Grit up because I reload my magazine whenever it's getting close to empty, but not completely empty. And then the final thing here, I feel like nobody takes this one, but it's actually pretty decent on this build. Keep some hostages around the map, take Manipulator and tie up and trade them 50% faster, and then trade them for double first aid kits. You only get 6 first aid kits in your doctor bag. There's maybe like 2 to 4 in the bathrooms around the map. This can get you a lot more, and you can ensure that you have that invulnerability more often. This build just kind of works. I know it's hard to just listen to that and be like, okay, yeah, medic bag's the worst deployable in the game. Sure, it works. Okay, it does. We ran the entire game twice. That's 16 heists. At times we had 2 medic bags, 1 armor bag, and an ammo bag, and our team did totally fine, better than we've ever done even. Consider trying this out. I think it's a fantastic build. 2 of us have been running it for a while. I want to see some of you guys run this and give me some feedback. If you don't like it or you think it can be improved, please let me know in the comments. If anything changed in future updates, I know there's one coming in about 2 days, because like I said, it's October 3rd today. I know there's an update coming in about 2 days. If that changes something with the medic bag, I'll let you guys know in the description. Maybe there'll be a new video. As well, I think I'm going to do another short video about how armor works. I think there's a lot of confusion right now with why 3 armor is probably better than 4 armor, and in this video you see that 1 armor can even be better than 2 or 3 armor, so there may be another video. Everything you see here was done live on my Twitch channel. We were testing it live and changing things accordingly. I don't think anything really changed. We tested it pretty extensively before stream and then showed it off on stream, and it was just working and people were kind of understanding it. So if you'd like to see it in action, I'll probably be using it a little bit the next couple days, couple weeks, I don't know. I could be using it forever. One thing I'd like to point out on why you want to take a medic bag, by the way, there are challenges tied to using a medic bag and throwing them down. So if you want to hit Infamy 150, you gotta use a medic bag. So try this build out, at least for 100 medic bag drops. Alright, thanks for watching. I know this wasn't a funny video, but I was going for informative, so hope that's good enough for you guys. I can't always be funny, okay? I'll see you next time.